So these are all meals that I would typically make on the weekend and also share with other people. I probably wouldn't put this much effort into a whole weekend food-wise if I was just doing it for myself. So this is definitely how I eat when I cook and eat with other people. Anyway, so I just wanted to share kind of what I eat when I'm not eating alone, which most of the time I'm eating alone. Some of these are my recipes, some of these are other people's recipes that I have just tailored a little bit, but for the most part, it's these other people's recipes, and I will link their information down below in the description. Some of the things that I make don't really have a recipe. I just throw things in and on these food items. So anyway, let's just jump into the video. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and now let's jump in. Saturday morning, I made some French toast. This recipe comes from noracooks.com, so these are the ingredients. I used sourdough bread instead of French bread. The only difference I made in this recipe is I swapped out the cornstarch for garbanzo bean flour instead, which you have to use more flour than cornstarch, so I'll write that conversion below if you're interested in trying it with some different type of flour if you don't have cornstarch like I didn't have, but topped it off with some fresh berries, maple syrup, and bomb.com. For both Saturday and Sunday, I made these wraps. So the bulk, substantial part of the wrap is chickpeas mixed with some type of fat source. So this was a guacamole salsa. Oftentimes I will use vegan mayo, but I didn't have any this week. And then I usually add a couple different types of cheeses. So I'm using this Miyoko's vegan chive cheese, adding some mustard for nice sharp flavor. And then I'm also going to add this chow cheese. But then I just top it off with a variety of different vegetables, some sunflower seeds that give it a nice crunch, cilantro, yum, herbs, anything that just makes this, crunchy and flavorful, I'll put on the wraps. And these tortillas really sucked. You can see that they do not wrap very well. The next time I made these, I double wrapped them. Made some pizza for dinner. So the crust is a gluten-free pizza dough that I found at the store that was surprisingly vegan. Oftentimes gluten-free crust is usually not vegan. Used garbanzo bean flour to roll out the dough. And then I just topped it off with a bunch of different toppings that I personally wanted to eat. So of course some Beyond Meat sausage kind of mimics like pepperoni or something, or just anyway, sausage bites, whatever, on pizza. And then just a bunch of different veggies and flavors that I personally enjoy, and also ended up later adding some pineapple and cilantro. And I just followed the pizza dough cooking instructions for how long to cook this, and then just kind of eyeballed it and left it cooking for as long as I thought, until I thought it was done. Saturday night, I prepped Sunday's breakfast, which is quiche. So you just saute a bunch of different vegetables. Well, that's like 3 vegetables. And then you combine all of these different ingredients. This is the eggy, the vegan egg substitute with all these different flavors. So this is not my recipe. I will link it down below. This is from emilyeats.com. And it's a really killer recipe. I have made this a bunch of times and love it. I've made it for bridal showers, baby showers. It is a big hit. And I added some additional ingredients. So I cooked up some more Beyond sausage because I just love the stuff, with some artichoke, jalapeno, and red onions. And you just stir it all together, and you usually cook it right away, but I decided to make it the night before, so I just prepped it in the pan. And then I cooked it on the stove on low simmer for 30 minutes, let it rest. But the original recipe actually has you cook it in the oven. I just kind of tested it out to see if it would work on the stovetop, and it did. And for Sunday dinner, I just had some sausage and potatoes. So here are all the toppings that I put on the potatoes. I do not have a recipe. I just liberally apply all of those things. And then I just heat up some Beyond Meat hot Italian sausages. They are my favorite. So I cook the potatoes at 400 degrees, and it can range anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour. Just depends on how crispy you like it. Toss the potatoes, halfway through, and top it off with some ketchup. Hopefully that was enjoyable for you guys. These are some of my favorite dishes to make on the weekend when I'm cooking with other people, to share with them. And That's all I have to say. Yay!